Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevayam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevayam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevayam. Om Aganda Timarandasya Ganajana Shivakaya Chakshur Umilitam Yena Tajma Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Hare Krishna. The following video series is a summary of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam was translated into English by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Also included are His in-depth commentaries known as purports. These purports unpack the often complex and symbolic language of the text, making it understandable to a wider audience. The Srimad Bhagavatam, also known as the Bhagavata Purana, is considered the most important of sacred scriptures. Composed around 5,000 years ago, it is considered the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic literature and the original commentary on the Vedanta-sutra. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam is Srila Vyasadeva. He is also the compiler of the Vedas, classified as a Purana, a vast genre of ancient stories and knowledge encompassing history, philosophy, and spiritual teachings. Srimad Bhagavatam includes stories of avatars, creation narratives, lives of saints and sages, philosophy discourses, and practical guidance for spiritual life. Divided into 12 cantos with over 18,000 verses covering 10 subject matters. 1. The elemental creation. 2. The secondary creation. 3. The planetary systems. 4. Protection by the Lord. 5. The creative impetus. 6. Manvatars. 7. The science of God. 8. The dissolution. 9. Liberation. And 10. The supreme shelter. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila, chapter 25, text 143 and 144, Lord Chaitanya, speaking to Prakrisananda Saraswati, tells him, translation, the meaning of the Vedanta-sutra is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. The full purport of the Mahabharata is also there. The commentary of the Bhagavad Gayatri is also there and fully expanded with all Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is the Supreme Purana. It was compiled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His incarnation as Vyasadeva. There are 12 cantos, 335 chapters, and 18,000 verses. Canto 1, chapters 8 through 12. Chapter 8. The prayers of Queen Kunti. Just after Lord Krishna and the Pandavas performed the future rituals for their relatives in the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna prepares to leave for Dvaraka. Suddenly, Uttara approaches Krishna in great fear. Asvamata has hurled another Brahmastra and targeted to kill the unborn child within her womb. Krishna, as the Supersoul, covers the embryo from within and saves Uttara. After Krishna saves Uttara and their embryo, Kunti, the mother of the 5 Pandavas, approaches Krishna along with her sons and offers her obeisances. After glorifying the Lord, Kunti describes his descent and greatness and wonders how she can possibly understand his unfathomable position. Kunti then retells how the Lord protected her and her family during their calamitous years of exile. She then explains that only one who has no material shelter can easily approach Krishna. Kunti then explains the mysterious nature of Krishna's birth and activities, as well as the reason for his advent. Kunti begs Krishna to remain in Hastinapur, as the welfare and opulence of the Pandava kingdom depend on his presence. Kunti then expresses her desire to sever her affection to all others but Krishna, and then, while offering her obeisances to the Lord, declares her complete dependence upon him. After Kunti ends her prayers, Krishna again attempts to leave Hastinapur. Maharaj Yudhisthira, overwhelmed by the death of his kinsman, approaches Krishna in a dejected mood and is filled with lamentation. Chapter 8, text 36. Sinvanti Gayati Grinatyat Bhiksnasha Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jaha Taevas Pashyantya Chirena Tabakam Baba Pravaho Paramam Parambujam. Translation. O Krishna, those who constantly hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Chapter 9. The passing away of Bhismadeva in the presence of Lord Krishna. Maharaj Yudhishthira, Krishna, and the Pandavas go to the battlefield where Bhishma is lying on a bed of arrows. Many great rishis also arrive, and Bhismadeva properly receives them all, especially Lord Krishna, for Bhishma is aware of his glorious position. Seeing the Pandavas, Bhishma enumerates all the sufferings the Pandavas tolerated prior to the battle. Bhishma then explains that such things could only have happened due to the actions of eternal time and Krishna's inconceivable plan. Bhishma describes the glories and actual position of Krishna. Bhishma appreciates that Krishna has personally come to be present before him at the time of his death. Bhismadeva first answers Yudhishthira's questions regarding the duties of a religious monarch, and then notices that the auspicious time for his departure has arrived. He thus withdraws his consciousness from this world and focuses it on Krishna. Bhishma especially fixes his mind on remembering Sri Krishna as he saw him on the battlefield as the chariot driver of Arjuna. Bhishma further glorifies Krishna's wonderful reciprocations with his other devotees. Bhismadeva then breathes his last. After the great sages and the Pandavas depart, Yudhishthira begins ruling the kingdom according to the instructions he has received from Bhismadeva. Chapter 9, text 32. Iti matir upakapriti vitrisna Bhagavati satvata bhugave vibhumi Swasukham upagate kvachit viparthum Prakritim upeyusi yadbhava pravaha. Translation. Bhismadeva said, "Let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in the different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Sri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending to the material world, although it is from him only that the material world is created." Chapter 10. Departure of Lord Krishna for Dvaraka. Sanaka questions Sutta about Yudhishthira's rule of the kingdom after the Kurukshetra battle, and Sutta Goswami answers by describing the wonderful world situation created by Yudhishthira's reign. Sukadeva then narrates Krishna's departure from Hastinapur to Dvaraka and describes the expressions of affection by the residents of Hastinapur, especially the ladies of Hastinapur, who offer their prayers as the Lord leaves. The ladies appreciate their fortune in seeing the Lord and the Creator of the universe, Krishna, who is usually only seen by great, pure devotees and who mercifully descends to the material world in different ages. The ladies then describe the glories of the land in which Krishna descends, as well as the great fortune of the wives of Krishna, who so intimately relate with him. The Lord accepts the prayers of the ladies and leaves Hastinapur or Dvaraka. Chapter 10, text 24. Savahayam sakya nugita satkato Vedesu gu yesu chagunya vadibi ya eka iso jagad atma lilaya Shri jayat vatyati na tatra sajate. Translation. O dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead, whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world, yet remains unaffected. Chapter 11. Lord Krishna's entrance into Dvaraka. Krishna reaches Dvaraka and blows his conch shell, which heralds the citizens to gather before the Lord. Various citizens offer prayers, and the Lord accepts their offerings. The fantastic beauty of Dvaraka, which is resplendent with natural opulence, is described. Prior to entering Dvaraka's boundaries, the Lord accepts a reception and further reciprocates with the citizens of Dvaraka. Krishna enters the city, greets more citizens, and exchanges affection with his mothers. Finally, the Lord enters into each of his 16,108 palaces and sees each of his queens. The transcendental character of the Lord and the spiritual nature of Krishna's relationships with his queens are described. Chapter 11, text 26. Shriyo nishvaso yashoraha panapatram bhukam drisham bahavo lokapalanam saranganam param bhujam. Translation. The Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is a drinking vessel for eyes which hanker after all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting place for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. Chapter 12. Birth of Emperor Pariksit. The sages of Naimisharanya turn their questions back to the topics about Maharaj Pariksit. Sutta Goswami first explains the glories of Maharaj Yudhisthira and the glories of Maharaj Yudhisthira's reign over the earth. Sutta then explains the vision of the Lord that Pariksit saw while still in the womb. Sukadev then narrates the birth of Pariksit and Yudhisthira's observance of Pariksit's birth ceremony, which was attended by learned Brahmins who described the Lord's protection of Pariksit. In answer to Yudhisthira's inquiry about how Pariksit will compare to his ancestors, the Brahmins glorify the future qualities of Pariksit. The Brahmins finally describe the future death of Pariksit, and then, after being sufficiently remunerated, return home. Pariksit grows, and his qualities develop under Yudhisthira's guardianship. Yudhisthira decides to perform a sacrifice to atone for his own sins. His brothers collect the needed money, and Yudhisthira perform the sacrifice in the presence of Lord Krishna. Following the sacrifice, Arjuna returns to Hastinapur with Krishna. Chapter 12, text 11. Vidurya tad emeyatma Bhagavan dharma gubibhu Misato dharm samasasya tatraivantar tadhe hari. Translation. While thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, and the protector of the righteous, at once disappeared, though he is dressed by all directions and is unlimited by time and space.